questions to both of them. Matt, at least from my end, Matt, to you. Could this, I mean, the Nifty implied open suggests a 160 to 163 point higher, uptick higher, which is good, but it's circa percent, right? I mean, nothing dramatically higher. Would this be construed as positive for risk assets in emerging markets? Or because some of the deals have already been signed, it's not as big a news now?
No, Neeraj, I do think it's constructive for emerging markets. I think number one, it goes back to the movement we're seeing with respect to the dollar. I think the fact it does take away some uncertainty is there. But again, you're seeing futures in the US fluctuate a little bit too. So it's going to take time to know exactly how good it is for other countries. And, while we've been talking, I have much smarter people on my team who've been giving me updates on some information. And so just to tie everything together, because I think this is helpful, they outlined two other mechanisms in which the Trump administration could probably implement tariffs in another way, shape, or form relatively quickly. One of those being Section 122. Those are basically to address balance of payment trade deficit problems, which he can justify with many countries. And you can impose up to a 15% tariff for 150 days before you need congressional approval. So I suspect you're going to see that used in many cases for at least a baseline level of tariffs. And then perhaps negotiations can take place. And then there's the very, very vague Section 338, which came from the Smoot-Hawley tariffs in 1930 that leave a lot of room to be open. And that basically you can impose up to 50% tariffs on any country that, quote, discriminates against the US. No other clarification is given. So there's a pretty open legal field for Trump to reinstitute tariffs on that front. But putting all of that aside, the other point I'll make to get to, I think, an important question you were asking earlier as well, Neeraj, is, where does India stand relative to other countries? Because wasn't the trade deal favorable towards India relative to other exporting or other South Asian competitors? And I would say, yes, it was. But there were already other tariffs not part of IEEPA that are not part of this Supreme Court ruling that are still in place on other countries, China being the primary one. So steel and aluminum tariffs against a number of emerging market countries still in place. A number of tariffs on China and semiconductors and dumping, those are still in place. So there's still a number of baseline tariffs against other countries that are going to be there. So I think India is still at a relative advantage, especially against China, say the main rival, I would say, fighting for dominance of resupply chains. So I think it is still a net positive for India and a number of emerging markets where things are at least reset to zero temporarily.
So this is fascinating because like your point,